Hello viewers, today I present to you a review/guide of the famous game called Undead Horde that I just can't get enough of. So, we'll start by the basics. First of all, the game Undead Horde is an indie game, produced by 10 Tons Ltd, released on 15th May 2019. A game that has very unique genre of your main character being a villain. A necromancer in this case. This by itself is quite high in my books, but we need to judge the game as a whole. So I'll provide a brief rundown. Actually, the rundown will be provided by the game due to its perfect voice acting.
My name is Orson, the last necromancer, captured in a cage constructed by the paladins. Ages ago I was banished in this urn by my arch-enemy, a paladin called Benevictor. Today his arrogance works in my favor. My inept cage is being pecked apart by a bird of some sort. This is my chance to raise a new undead army, destroy Benevictor, and take back what once was ours.
Now that you have been given the briefing, two things are for sure. The voice acting is legendary and the art style is immaculate. The requirements to play this game are minuscule, which is a humongous plus in my book since a lot of us have some really trash PCs. The music, despite not being an expert in this genre, is placed very smartly by my account. You see, your cavern or your home has a theme. Each new stage on the map has another, and another tune plays when you conquer the region. Along with the perfectly placed SFXs, makes it a very pleasant experience throughout. In fact, after playing this game for hours, I really started to get nostalgic due to the music. But enough of that. Now we are going to move to 3 topics and cover them all at the same time. Maps, enemies, and the design. You see, in the maps, you are first found in icy mountains. Your seal is broken by the chicken as shown before. And that's when you're given a basic rundown of your powers of necromancy. Not a lot is found there except your home base, and so we move on to the next one. The forest is full of peasants, soldiers, bears, very nasty beings, let me tell you that, and Groot-like creatures whom you cannot raise for some effed up reason. Then you struggle to the catacombs, where you are attacked and ravaged by the goblins and poisonous scorpions. After that, you go into the desert where barbarians and giants are waiting to throw boulders at you and sieve you into fine paper ash. Along with scorpions, of course, as a delicious topping, I must say. After you get tortured enough, you are thrown into the wastelands, which I can only describe my experience as traumatic. Because after completing this level, the last one, which is Citadel, was like a piece of cake for me. Because wastelands have something called the elementals. These sons of very nasty bitches have humongous AoE damage, along with burn or frost, depending on which lucky guy you have encountered, and cannot be raised. This usually puts a huge dent in your army, and so the developers have been very kindly created stages where you fight only fire elementals. So get your ass burned, bitch, in case you didn't get the memo. Of course, there are wolves and slightly upgraded giants and slightly upgraded humans with barbarians and orcs, but those are nothing compared to these bitches known as the elementals. Now we come to the Citadel, the home to your nemesis, the Paladin Benevictor. This one's actually pretty easy compared to Wastelands, which I've previously mentioned, because it's an area full of knights, priests, archers, cavalry, and paladins. A pretty easy walk in the park for most part. The puzzles can be construed a bit boring, and the final fight with the Paladin Benevector is pretty good. Designed for each map, each enemy is unique. Decent puzzles and some hilarious enemy AI. Probably footage not found, but I saw a bear fighting a flock of chickens. It was a very tough and close match, but the bears unfortunately won. Those vicious sons of bitches. The enemies can also be categorized as smart at times. You see, humans, orcs, giants, goblins, barbarians create civilizations. What are civilizations, you ask? Well, they're basically huts which spawn armies like a crazy bitch. So your strategy is to let your horde attack the army and you solo play the entire camp. Yay! Now, it's a pretty good strategy that works for most part, and I highly highlight the part most. There's also the infamous boss monsters. Yes, you have heard it right. There are plenty of boss monsters in this game. I believe an estimate of 20 is an unfortunate but true one. But these ones require a little bit of more strategy and planning. That is, if you feel your army is dying, raise more soldiers, please, so that you don't get sued into oblivion. But wait, what? You cannot raise the army because you're being attacked 24/7? Oh my god. That's because you haven't heard of the next 3 parts. What are the next 3 parts, you ask? Looking with awe, envy, and a little bit of impatience? Well, it's the leveling system, the shop management, and selling and trading. You see, there is a leveling system. Surprise to everyone. Once you kill enough enemies and do enough missions, you level up. Your level grants you one of these 3 paths to take. Damage plus HP, or your command, or your mana. Damage plus HP is pretty easy to explain and should be highly focused on. Command allows you to have more soldiers in your horde, making them more powerful and vicious. And mana allows you to play with your wand. Once you kill enough enemies, certain items are dropped. These need to be sold from time to time due to the limited number of slots. Once you sell them, you get gold. Now with this gold, you can either summon the boss monsters that you have previously slain, which is a highly recommended thing to do from time to time if you feel a stage is too hard, because a boss monster usually has an AoE buff, and that is a humongous help. Now though, for the gold that is remaining, you can use it for increasing your shop levels. Wait, you have shops at your home? Yes, we do! With this amazingly bad rhetorical question that I have just placed, forgive me, but I had to include it somehow. So, these shops sell items that, as long as you keep the shop leveled similar to yours, you get fairly decent ones. But what are items? I mean, I have kept mentioning them the whole game, and I'm just moving on to my third very brilliantly placed rhetorical question. So what are they? Well, you see, in order to ease your journey, the developers have come up with a very simple set of items that will overpower the shit out of your necromancer. These simple ones are a wand, a weapon, 2 rings, a skull, a book, and an orb. Do not worry, you're reaching the end of the video, so that humor called an explanation will be over very shortly. Please struggle for 2 more minutes. All of these items have some very helpful side effects, and those are the ones you need to keep your eye on. Now I'm going to list out the preferred ones to ease your pain of death. For a weapon, which is usually a hammer or a sword, An increase in percentage of experience acquired from killing enemies is recommended, and unit building damage is highly advised. A wand needs to have either raise cooldown percentage decrease or raise duration decrease, along with mana regeneration is perfect. The rings are a sort of spell that uses your mana, and my two favorite ones are shielding your unit for a certain amount of time, that is, they get no damage and cause all the chaos, along with a damage booster. This is very helpful when you try to crush the building, but the building has 10,000 HP and you are using a sword that deals 1 damage. So it will now deal 4 damage per second. Yay! Anyways, the skull. Now this one is a pretty interesting one because you get a pretty, how do I say, mid-game. Skull, Book and Orb are pretty early mid-game. So either one of these should have this particular attribute, that is, cannot interrupt a raise. That's right folks, once you're under heavy besiegement from all corners by your very favorable enemies, you use this and raise the dead bodies beneath you. This is extremely helpful. Even without me saying, you should be able to realize that. The other two can be used to reduce two things and two things only: raise cooldown or raise duration. The raise cooldown is the amount of time you have to wait to raise another bunch of corpses and turn them into your dead law-abiding soldiers, and the law is only you. Second one is raise duration, which is the amount of time it takes for you to perform your ritual and make some law-abiding citizens. Both of them, as you may have guessed, are highly important due to me underlining it 3 times. But you only need to worry about the skull and the orb, because there is a book in mid-game which is overpowered. It's completely overpowered. And late game you get an even better book. How much better can a book be? Well, let me say, the late game book gives you minus 40% raise duration, minus 40% raise cooldown, and godlike abilities. That's right folks. Now I believe we are at the end of the video, so I recommend to you my guides / walkthroughs with no commentaries that I had recorded, kept in my hard disk, and pray to Lord for this holy day.